Very, very straightforward. So thank you very much for doing that. If you have done it, okay, take that. You go and give that thumb up. I mean, you know, please let us continue. A glance at one of the other Dandima business entities shows that even the email address used to register this entity, purportedly a petroleum company, albeit one with zero identifiable corporate footprint, belongs to Dandima BDC, which says everything about how important the BDC is to Aruna Sharu. The question left unanswered is why? David has an answer, and that's it. Let's continue. So you go and read the article. You should read the article, okay? Now, I'm continuing with this. Zaradin, or let me say, Saradin Sharu, Aruna, is Sharu, Aruna's son. So it is no surprise for him to show up as a director on his father's BDC registration document. There is just one problem. Remember, Emefiele saying that BDCs facilitate terror financing. Do you remember that Emefiele said that, right? Well, just a month before he made that comment, a circular was sent out to banks by the Central Bank of Nigeria with the names of 18 companies and individuals whose bank accounts were to be frozen with a PND, that is post no debit mandate. Very unusually, no reason was given for the instruction, and also unusually, on a list made up of corporate accounts, there was an account belonging to an individual. His name, let's find out. Zaradin Aruna Sharu. And there is a cable report that David screenshotted into his own report. I'll read it. It says the affected companies include Bakori Mega Services, or I'll go to that one. It says also included are Trainer Software Ventures, Firestream Global Concept Limited, Samarise Global Nigeria Limited, and Zaradin Aruna Sharu. Now, in David expose, just to show you that picture, right? Now, let's go back to Eritrea. Don't forget, that this Saradin, and all these guys, they are from Eritrea. Remember that, yeah? Now, let's go back again to Eritrea. We now rejoin our Eritrean friend in the year 2006. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, has recently been gazetted, and one of the first things its counterterrorism unit does is to freeze all assets linked to NASCO Group Nigeria Limited. Apparently, Mr. Nasreddin has been doing some creative accounting to hide the fact that he is moving money around the world to fund Islamist terror organizations. Or at least that it was what the Nigerian government itself wrote to the United Nations in the same letter. In the letter the United Nations sent, the Nigerian sent to the United Nations, it may be so tiny on your screen, okay? So I'm going to try and just read it out for you. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit also became operational in January 2005. It is now the only central body responsible for the receipt, analysis, and dissemination of intelligence packages to law enforcement agencies and regulations. Regulations. It also exchanges information with other FIUs around the world. It receives suspicious transaction reports, STR, and currency transaction reports, CTR, from banks, other financial institutions, and designated financial institutions. So this body investigated NASCO chairman Nasreddin in 2006, and they froze many of their assets, right? Now, a WikiLeaks cable from 2002 hints at American hesitancy on the subject of freezing NASCO's Nigerian assets due to the economic implications for Plateau State and political implications in Nigeria. So America refused to do that for them when they submitted that report to United Nations. Thank you so much, Noel J. Let me see what your super chat is. Quick one. Guys will be like, Maiyegun, please continue. Maiyegun, don't stop. I know. I told you. This is an analysis. And thank you, Noel J. General, can the link be shared? I'm watching on YouTube. Thank you. Please, somebody should help me copy the link. I will copy the link myself. In fact, there's no point in asking you to do it for me anymore. Let me copy the link. If you are watching it live, you will be able to use this link now. If you're watching a replay, you're just going to see the link in the comment. Okay. Please use it to read more. It's so deep. Okay. Let us continue, please. For those who might likely find it too long. Some people enjoy me reading it out now because according to them, you can listen and say, But when you say open the link and read, Baba, it's very long. Very long, but you must. I mean, you're not gonna get. You are not really gonna get bored. Okay, but I enjoy reading it. That's why we call Maiyegun Diary Politico a diary. This is a place you can always say, "Oh, if there's this story I want to know more about, let me just go and see it on Maiyegun's diary. Let me go onto the diary." That is why you have to subscribe if you haven't. Okay, go on there now and click that subscription button. Right. Back to the WikiLeaks report on why America did not freeze the asset of NASCO group. Thank you very much. The WikiLeaks report says the mission does not know the extent to which NASCO's Nigerian operation contribute to the global network of terrorism. Nor are we arguing that the NASCO group should not be placed on the list. If NASCO has abetted terrorism, it should pay the price for that affiliation. However, we would like to make Washington aware of the potential reaction in Nigeria to such a move and to the effect it might have on our relations here. If NASCO is added, the public disclosure of the corroborative evidence will go far in reducing the inevitable criticism of our move. Additionally, we offer other thoughts in paragraph 13 and 14 below on how the NASCO group link with terrorism could be severed, but in ways that would tend to reduce the fallout inimical to the US-GON bilateral relationship. These ideas include the proposal that say freezes ordered should be limited to the NASCO parent company in Turkey, not the Nigerian subsidiaries. Reftel C was transmitted in error and should be disregarded. End summary. This is an American ambassador to Nigeria sending a telegram or something to the American government that, yes, it is true that NASCO group and their chairman, they have been funding global terrorism. This was like 5 years before you ever heard about Boko Haram in Nigeria. They were only recruiting you in Nigeria, using the Islamic cleric that you call powerful Islamic cleric. Don't insult our cleric. They are the cleric that will tell you to go and kill somebody simply because a cartoon was posted by a Denmark or a Danish cartoonist. They are the people that will kill somebody. They will say because somebody trampled upon a Quran, they will say they have to kill that person, that they will start killing. This cleric, before they start this Boko Haram, right? They have been sponsoring terrorism globally. And at the same time in Nigeria, waiting for the time they have number of people that will have the orientation to kill you in the name of Allah since 2006. So American ambassador in Nigeria at the time said, if America should place him and freeze his access and all of that, your conflicts in Nigeria would have stopped years ago, right? And they said that will send a wrong political signal to Nigeria. So America should not do that for that sake. Another way, they protected them from you knowing the real sponsor of terrorism that you are now battling with today in Nigeria. More than 10 million people displaced. More than 2 million people killed. Right? Over tens of thousands of communities ransacked and destroyed. Displaced. People completely lost. The war that has cost you trillions of your naira and billions of dollars. The genesis is this. Let us continue. The real proof of Nasruddin's double life, however, comes from the US Treasury Department, which publishes a comprehensive account of how he laundered and moves money around the world for terrorist activity, for terrorist entities. Want to hear the real kicker? Nasruddin has been funding and laundering money for none other than GSPC, the Algerian terrorist group, which Yakubu Kassina and Sharu Aruna are also involved with at the exact same time. As you dey chop conflicts, the thing say God don't bless you. Every penny coming from that, every profit being made there is being laundered to go and fund terrorism for years. The Nigerian jihadis being trained in Algerian camps in 2002 will later return to Nigeria and make up the core of what will later become known as Boko Haram. And what a coincidence! NASCO is also based in Jos, which so happens to be the headquarters of the Izala movement and its many North African alliances, using money made from selling market-leading FMCGs to Nigerian consumers. A cross-border network of terrorism is being nurtured that will someday kill the very kids eating NASCO cornflakes every morning. And it's all thanks to this nice gentleman from Eritrea, Nasruddin Ahmed Idris Nasruddin. Ha! Boko Haram came from Eritrea. The father of Boko Haram came from Eritrea after meeting Ahmadu Bello, after meeting his Mecca financiers. Today, children eating cornflakes every morning are now being killed by the children trained from the proceeds made, trained for jihadis, from the proceeds made from selling cornflakes to your children. No wonder. I share the video, I share the image of my family. My very beautiful, very, very beautiful, amazing family that I love so much. And the Buhari idiots came under there, fuming, foaming in the mouth. You sit down in the UK and you are working for Nigeria to break up. You are sending people to go and fight government. The reason why many of you are now running away from Nigeria, the reason why many of you are still going to run away from Nigeria is simply because the people who brought Boko Haram to Nigeria, they are called leaders, cleric leaders, Islamic religious leaders, opinion molders, and these ignorant buffoons that are actually, endangered species in the hands of these criminals. They want to blame me. In fact, they are blaming me for why their children are being kidnapped They are blaming me for why you are in such a mess. How convenient. How convenient. And they ignore this man. Is dead, but his legacy lives on. The legacy of terrorism. Ahmed Idris Nasreddin. Makes sense to you? Okay. Let me read a little bit about this other report attached. Based on information available to Italy and the United States, Joseph Nada and Ahmed Idris Nasreddin, through commercial holdings, operate an extensive financial network providing support for terrorist-related activities. In the case of Nada and Nasreddin, this involves an extensive conglomeration of businesses from which they derive their income, or through which they conduct transactions. Based on evidence of their support of terrorism, Nada and Nasreddin were previously designated by the international communities as financiers of terror. Nada was designated by the United States on November 7, 2001, and by the United Nations on November 9, 2001. Nasreddin was designated as a financier of terror by the G7 on April 19th, 2002, and by the United Nations on April 24, 2002. Nasreddin's corporate holdings and financial network provide direct support for Nada and Bank Al-Taqwa, which was also previously designated by the United States on November 7, 2001, and the United Nations on November 9, 2001. This designation of 14 additional entities owned or controlled by either Nada or Nasreddin will further restrict their assets and their network by precluding these companies from being used to provide funding or support for terrorism. Nasreddin and Nada, who have worked closely together for many years, are both directors of Bank Al-Taqwa and Akida Bank. Nada owns a controlling interest in Bank Al-Taqwa, and Nasreddin owns a controlling interest in Akiba Bank. Bank Al-Taqwa and Akiba Bank are not functional banking institutions in the conventional sense. They are shell companies lacking a physical presence and sharing the same address in the Bahamas where they were licensed. For this reason, the licenses of Bank Al-Taqwa and Akida Bank have been revoked by the Bahamian government. Bank Al-Taqwa, for which Nasreddin is a bank director, was established in 1988 with significant backing from the Muslim Brotherhood. They have been involved in financing radical groups such as the Palestinian Hamas, Algeria's Islamic Salvation Front, and Ahmad Islamic Group, Tunisia's and Nada, and Usama bin Laden, which is Osama bin Laden, and his Al-Qaeda organization. Bank Al-Taqwa was established in the Bahamas and is a close affiliate of the Al-Taqwa Management Organization, which changed its name in the spring of 2000 to the Nada Management Organization. Now, in 1997, it was reported that the $60 million collected annually for Hamas was moved to Bank Al-Taqwa account. As of October 2020, Bank Al-Taqwa appeared to be providing a clandestine line of credit to a close associate of Osama bin Laden. And as of late September 2001, Osama bin Laden and his Al-Qaeda organization received financial assistance from Yusuf M. Nadar. Nadar and Nasruddin own or control a number of business entities through direct ownership, control, or in cooperation with each other. 14 of these entities are being designated in furtherance of the prior designations of these two individuals to disrupt their use of assets under their ownership or control that could be used to finance terrorist activities. These are heroes in Nigeria. These are people call heroes, God sent. These are people who finance pilgrimages, like, the rich people in northern Nigeria, like Dangote, sending people to Mecca, sending people here, sending people there. David, if you are watching my video, I know you are doing something even bigger than this. It was you who unleashed ISA pandemic, who told us about ISA pandemic. And since you did that, we have never recovered from the truth. And this one you have just dropped now, please do us a favor. You want to know about the quota system, the quota-made billionaire called Dangote. I am suspecting him too, and I know you can do a good job. Let me continue. Nasruddin, however, is a very rich man. Like all very rich men, he appears to have a way around problems that would ground other people. In 2005, Lisa Myers and Aram Rostin of the NBC News investigative unit discovered that despite his designation as a terror financier in the US, Nasruddin's Nigeria business empire and his Italian hotel are still operating as normal. Quoted in the story, Victor Comras, a former terror finance expert at the State Department, says, in quote, this isn't a loophole. This is failure to implement the sanctions appropriately. He's been involved in terrorist financing. Let's put him out of business. Off quote. But remember the memo sent by the American ambassador that they can target his businesses elsewhere, but they shouldn't target Nigeria or his business in other places, so that not to send wrong signal, because that will affect the relationship of America with those who have managed to then take over the control of power in Nigeria. They control the finance sector. They control the government. They control the judiciary. They control the political space. And guess what? If anybody wants to do business and they say they are still supporting Nigeria, these are the guys they are meeting. So American ambassador sent a memo that America should not target, though there should be sanction, because there is evidence that is financing terror. He is in Nigeria, an Eritrean from Eritrea, whose father is from Eritrea, and he in Nigeria financing terror. His businesses were looking normal. He is still a hero in Nigeria. They continue to enjoy that. However, that will prove easier said than done, because just 2 years later, in 2007, just a second, please. That will prove easier said than done, because just 2 years later, in 2007, the LA Times publishes a story indicating that, to all intents and purposes, Nasruddin has cut some kind of deal with the US government, likely involving asset forfeitures, to get his name off the list of terror financiers. He has been indicted for funding terror, some of which has found its way into the lives of the Nigerian consumers who have made him made him fabulously wealthy. But he is off the hook. So, LA Times released this story. Let me, again, if you read that link I sent to you just now, right, you will see that. So read that because of our time. So, for the people who have died in the Madala Christmas Day bombings, facilitated by the people he funded and supported, there will be no justice. Nasruddin gets to hand over NASCO to his son, and he lives out the rest of his life in peace and comfort, dying at the ripe old age of 96 in an Italian hospital. Now back, friends and alliances in high places. How have they sustained the terror to make sure that it comes to be and it becomes what we are dealing with today? How? David said, I mentioned earlier that the death of Yakubu, Kassina's initial attempt to establish terror cells and Taliban training camps in Kano and Kassina was important. Here is why. Remember Abubakar Gumi's stated position that Muslims should never accept a non-Muslim as ruler. It just so happens that the concerted push for Sharia law across 12 northern Nigerian states lines up perfectly with the election of Olusegun Obasanjo as president in 1999. Examining the eras of Shehu Shagari, Muhammadu Buhari, Ibrahim Babangida, Sani Abacha, and Abdulsalami Abubakar as consecutive Muslim Nigerian heads of states, it is nearly impossible to establish the existence of directed and coordinated push for Islamic law in that era. Following Obasanjo's entry, however, Zamfara, Kano, Sokoto, Katsina, Bauchi, Borno, Jigawa, Kebbi, Yobe, Kaduna, Niger, and Gombe states decided in quick succession to embrace a separate penal code from the southern Nigeria based on Sharia law. You never heard about Sharia law until Obasanjo came, right? Some of you didn't know how Obasanjo even came to become your president. Obasanjo was on a death row. Abacha already condemned him to death. He was to be killed, right? Then they brought him out of the death row after the death of Abacha. Yoruba said, no, we don't know him. We're not going to vote for him. He doesn't even have any interest of Yorubas at that. But these people said he will be the president, and he became the president. Some of you don't know the underhand dealing that went into that. And why? Obasanjo had no choice but what? To let them have Sharia under a Yoruba president, a Southerner. Understand the political resonance of the Izala movement in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria, and the power wielded by the indicted terror financiers and terrorists who still sit on his board is key to understand two things about terrorism in Nigeria. The first one, Boko Haram is a logical development growing out of the rise of political Islam in Nigeria, with its roots in Salafism, popularized by Abubakar Gumi and his ideological heirs. It is impossible to divorce Abubakar Gumi use of Saudi money and Wahhabi indoctrination in the 1970s from the adoption of Sharia law in northern Nigeria. The rise of the violent Salafists like Abubakar Shekau, and Issa Pantami, and the eventual inevitable mass uprising against the Nigerian state that will take place in the north. That's the first one. You remember Issa Pandemic? Issa Pandemic is your today's Minister of Communication. Let me see if this is going to play.
Haka mu a fahimtar muna roƙon Allah ya kai mu ran da hatta kuɗin da ke aljihu za su rahoto a jiki. Don taswiri kwata-kwata ba ma buƙatar sa duniya sai dai a darura. Amma hatta wannan ba ka da kaulin malami dai a duniya da yace halal ne. Sai dai kawai darura. To Allah ya fitar da mu a cikin wannan. Mu kai matakin da kuɗi ma mun fi ƙarfin taswiri. Ba ma buƙatar taswiri a jiki. A addinin mu taswiri ko hoton sahabi ne ai ba addini bane ajiyewa. So da hatta wannan Allah ya kai mu da wannan Gregorian date kalandar arna da ke jikin kuɗi Allah ya ce wa ma qataluhu wa ma salabuhu walakin shubbiha lahum na an kashe Isa alayhi salam duk wannan ba mu bukatar sa kuma in Allah ba mu dama duk za a gusar da shi insha Allah ta'ala.
I don't know if you heard that. Please let me know. Did that audio played out when I was playing that audio there? Did you hear the audio? Thank you. I'm going to continue. You did hear the audio. God bless you. That means this is perfect. And you also saw the subtitle, Abi, right? Let's continue. The second one, understanding Boko Haram now. How did you come to Boko Haram? How come Boko Haram cannot be defeated, right? Now, this is us getting to that point now, okay? While the Boko Haram brand is an unattractive one, the goals of Boko Haram are by no means unattractive to those who make up the ideological core of the Izala movement, which is Nigeria's most influential Islamic sect. Aminu Daurawa was famously praised, who famously praised the September 11 attacks in a 2001 sermon with a quote claiming that Allah is a suicide bomber. Is today the head of Kano's Isba police. Maybe you didn't hear what I said. Or you didn't hear? Okay, I'm going to say it again. That Aminu Daurawa, who famously is a clerical, is also an Islamic cleric in Kano. In 2001, he famously praised the September 11 attack. That is the attack on the World Trade Center in America. He praised it when he was preaching to his people. And he told them, he said, Allah is a suicide bomber. Akimu, I'm talking to you, Akimu. That is thinking when we talk about these criminals, and the type of the ideology they have. Because you be Akimu, because you are also doing your own 5 days Salatu prayer, you think when we talk about them, we are attacking your Islam. We are attacking your faith. So because of that, you are defending them. Akimu, you are a Yoruba boy. You are not a Salafist. You are not from Eritrea. You are not from Algeria. You are not. Do you actually believe Allah is also a suicide bomber? Akimu. She's suicide bomber ni Allah. Do you now see why you don't have anything in common with these guys? The only thing that make you think you can defend them is because you think this is about Muslim versus Christian. No. These are extremists. These are fanatics. These are people that will kill you and they will justify it. Akimu, your reason for defending Nigeria is because of your Muslim brother from Kano. Akimu, I'm calling your name simply because I know so many Akimus that are actually born mumus. Sometimes they look smart. Oh. There are many smart Akims, oh, and Akims are always smart. By the way, I have so many Akims that are really smart, very smart guys, right? But the only way you can press their mumu button is when you begin to say, you know what I mean? Akimu, mumu button will be up. Akimu, I'm calling you now. This is not the reason. This is why you want to keep Nigeria. This is why you don't want to listen to your brothers. This is why you want your brothers killed for asking for Yoruba nation. Akimu, Sheloto Allah is a suicide bomber. Okay. Somebody said that. And that person is now the head of Kano Isba. Do you now understand why they say Kano Isba and Sharia is for the poor people? Somebody called Aminu Daurawa is there in Kano right now. doing a la police. Terrorist too. Anyway, I keep my hands off. Right? Let's continue. You remember this guy again? David. God will continue to bless you. Let's say something too good. Sometimes when you want pray, you feel cursed. Isa pandemic, your minister of communication, all this thing where you do, all the phones you are watching me on right now, as you are watching from Nigeria, the phones you are watching on, the TV you are watching on, the everything you are using right now, the person in charge of that is a terrorist. He is a terrorist. Isa pandemic. Listen to this.
Manya-manyan tankunan yaƙi, jiragen sama ana ƙoƙarin ajiye su akan boda, ana bukata a zo a yi dominating ƙasar, su yi imposing wanda suke so akan mulki. Don daman strategy ne na duk ƙasar kafirai ya tafi ƙarfi a duniya ya zama duk wata ƙasa sun ɗora wani wanda suke so akan mulki. Shi yasa muke ta addu'a Allah ya gaggawa gusar da Mr. 00. Allah ya kawo mana musulmi na ƙware mai jin tsoron Allah. Kun gane ba ake nufi ko mai bakin jaba? Na'am.
Are you still following me? Right. The next chapter. As long as Isa Pantami, Mr. 00, a reference, that's what they call the Salafist, 00. If you are not a Salafist or a Muslim, they don't want to have anything to do with you. Not to talk of you leading them. Are you mad? You want to be their leader. Are you actually serious? So people like Isa pandemic is 00. Mr. 00, a reference to an ideological pure Muslim with zero tolerance for bid'ah. That is a hardline Salafist. Retains his obvious and unapologetic sympathy for an organization with clear and ongoing links to the enemy he claims to be fighting against as Nigeria's president. The Izala movement has no incentive to reinvent itself. There is no way that the Nigerian president is not aware of Yakubu Musa Azan Katsina's history as a known terrorist, as well as the Izala movement's extremely problematic history and current composition. And yet, as recently as 2018, President Bokwari was pictured in Aso Rock meeting with Izala movement president Abdullahi Bala Lau, Yakubu Musa Azan Katsina, Kabiru Gombe, and Ibrahim Jalo Jalingo. And this is the picture. The Izala movement at the seat of power of Nigeria. The terrorists. Look at their faces. The terrorists that you have been wondering. Who are the financiers of terrorism in Nigeria? Who are those sponsoring terrorism? How come government cannot arrest them? They walk into government house. They see your president because he's one of them too. Wait, oh. Bill, I said the story never even reached half. Some people are saying I should open the line. We are not taking calls tonight. You see, this whole thing will be in the same video. All of this I'm going to finish tonight, no matter how long it takes. We'll put it in the same video, right? Then we are going to we're going to feed on them one by one on my subsequent broadcast. That's where you're going to come in. That's why you have to listen to this and listen and pay attention to the detail so that you will remember everything and you will be spurred to know that you can't save Nigeria. Stop deceiving yourselves. No, stop. The only way to save Nigeria is to begin the process of national conversation and the process of a national disintegration so that everybody can begin to go their separate ways. It is either that's David. David said it is either I have more access to information about his friends and associates than the Nigerian president does. With a plethora of intelligence and information gathering agencies at his disposal, or he knows all this already, and he has chosen a side. Clearly, to the Izala movement, this picture taken in 2018 was a statement. Indeed, it was. An Obasanjo government may have arrested Yakubu Katsina, Remember who was in power in 2006? It was Obasanjo. So, an Obasanjo government may have arrested Yakubu Katsina and his likes in 2005. But 13 years later, Katsina's ideological ally is in office, standing solidly next to him. As he stood solidly next to Issa Pantami, the Zala movement has won and everybody else has lost. You have lost. If you think you are fighting to save Nigeria, the terrorists have won. Listen to me, they have won. You have no clue. The only other angle of high-level involvement not yet addressed is that of the Jordanian government. Recall that Yakubu Katsina was named among the world's 500 most influential Muslims by a Jordanian state-backed NGO. Well, it turns out that the NGO in question, the Royal Islamic Strategic Studies Center, is itself affiliated with the Royal Al-Bayat Institute for Islamic Thought. A visit to the institute's website reveals something strange. One of its publications titled Report on the Inter-Religious Tensions and Crisis in Nigeria, published in May 2012, has the following to say about ending violence between Muslims and Christians in Nigeria, right? On their website, they said, economic. Rampant neglect and mismanagement in various economic sectors, even at the highest levels of government, the vast disparity between wealth, education, healthcare, and employment levels in the Muslim North versus the Christian South, tension arising from Akwa Ibom, Rivers, Bayelsa, and Delta states wanting bigger shares of oil and gas production, leading to disparity in the quantum of funds allocated to the states in the oil-producing areas versus the states in the north, where no northern state produce any oil or gas, and there is over-reliance on federal allocation derived from oil revenue because of negligible internal revenue generation in states. The underdevelopment of a number of natural resources and sectors, e.g., agriculture, mining, due to the focus since independence on Nigeria's oil and oil wealth. Then poverty, unemployment. Then second to the last part of their economic concern is this. They said land disputes and lack of clearly demarcated grazing grounds for the nomadic Fulani cattle herders, lack of assistance of the part of government to victims of violence housed in refugee camps to enable them to re-establish normal life. These are the economic concerns they feel for the North and why they have to act as fast as possible. 2012. Now, let's continue. This report, produced by a state-funded NGO in Jordan, as far back as 2012, is prima facie evidence of a coordinated international campaign of strategic disinformation for the purpose of framing the reality of terrorism in Nigeria in a way that is completely dishonest, making reference to alleged income disparity between the Nigerians' Christian South and Muslim North. The report attempts to portray the latter as the victims of economic bullying and poverty, without citing data to support this conclusion. Very tellingly, at a time when conversation about violence related to nomadic cattle herding were not yet present in Nigeria political equation, 2012, we're not talking about Fulani land where farmers herders clashes whatsoever. In 2012, but as far back as 2012, they were already talking about grazing route, there's the marketed route, this and that. And then, 9 years after that, 2012 to now, how long is that? 9 years after that, they are now killing people because they want cattle colony. They want Ruga. they want grazing routes. Does that now, are they making sense to you now? Maybe not yet at this point, right? Let's continue again. Very tellingly, at a time when conversation about violence related to nomadic cattle herding were not yet present in Nigeria, in Nigeria's political equation, a Jordanian organization with links to Yakubu Kassina, a known Nigerian terrorist, was already recommending grazing routes as a solution for a problem that, for the most part, did not actually exist yet. 9 years later, the question is, how did they know that one day Nigeria will have to start talking about grazing routes? How did they know? That you didn't know? I didn't know. Nobody knew. Well, let's go to what they have done to the people of Southern Kaduna. Let me share this with you as well. The clip is online, and it's fair enough to tell you how 35 people were killed in a single raid. They call it farmers' herders clashes, but we did not see any herders who got killed. But 38 innocent people, harmless people, were slaughtered. And this is the evidence.
These are some of the bodies. You can see they've been loaded into the truck. There's the first truck. There's the second truck. There's the second truck. And here we have the third truck. Total of 35 caskets brought for the 35. There were actually 38 victims. 3 were buried on Monday because the bodies were not good enough to be kept. So that's the last casket which has been loaded. See a lot of women that are wailing and grieving over the death of their loved ones.
That's Southern Kaduna. And if you want to see it better, I think I'll share this.
By their persecution, it is boldly in the words of the Holy Scriptures. We shall separate from the love of Christ. We shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine.
That is the picture of what and why you can't defeat terrorism in Nigeria. You can't. The only way to defeat terrorism in Nigeria is to is to join others who want to peacefully evacuate from Nigeria, so that they can have their Nigeristan without having to subject you and I to this perpetual sort of a condemnation, because is this what it is now? Yeah? When they ask you to join them to gaslight the Biafrans, to gaslight the Yorubas, to gaslight your brothers, your sisters for Nigeria, I hope you know I hope you have an idea of that Nigeria you are fighting for. These are entrenched, established guys. And if you are waiting for your Tifnumbu, which they send their delegates, maybe it is the Izala movement that Tifnumbu will have to go and pledge allegiance to if he wants to really be your president in 2023. Before I go, I'm going to now take you back again to the first 3 clips I shared with you. And I want you to leave this conversation tonight with your well-fed mind and tell me who exactly are the enemies that brought all of us to these states, right? Is those who brought us to this level of subjugation and condemnation of more or less like condemned to death, would you say this person loves a Nigeria that respects everyone's boundary. Would you say that?
Bayelsa belongs to Jigawa. The oil in Delta belongs to Jigawa. As long, yes, because we are called Nigeria today. So that's what I'm telling you. The oil belongs to us all. And we as Nigerians shall do everything possible to make sure we take that oil so that Jigawa people will have the oil as well. Will have the money of the oil. Anybody who thinks the oil of Bayelsa belongs to only Bayelsa is just deceiving himself. As long as we're in Nigeria, we will make sure that we have uninterrupted supply of oil so that there will be uninterrupted supply of money to Jigawa State. As long as we are called Nigeria.
That's the first one. Or this is the person you should call your enemy.
My name is Nnamdi. The reason why we're here today is to protest the killing of innocent women and children, and men for that matter, all over Nigeria, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. We are not happy, we are not pleased with what is happening, and that is why we're here today. As you can see, there are a lot of Nigerians who are protesting about the killing of families, people who are determined to tear the country apart violently, and it is not something that we support. It is not something that we would like to see continue, and we are here today to send a clear message to the Nigerian government through the High Commissioner that what is happening in the country is unacceptable, and we cannot accept it. If that continues, it will lead to the violent situation of the country. There will be no more Nigeria for anyone to go to. There will be no Nigeria for anyone to refer to. In fact, what is happening in Somalia today will be like a tea party. So we cannot allow this nonsense to continue. Something has to be done. And the consequences of the actions of terrorism in Nigeria must be driven home to the people, so that even the terrorists themselves will be able to understand that there is no mileage in where they're going. The only thing they can accomplish is the breakup of Nigeria. If they think that they can cower people, if they think they can force people to be coerced into a religion which is not theirs, then they are clearly mistaken. We are asking for peace, we are asking for people to get together, we are asking for everybody who loves Nigeria, who is associated with that country, to please prevail upon terrorism in Nigeria so we can bring it to an end.
Not just that. Or, no, I don't want to annoy you. I wanted to share the other one, Gumi. It's like some of you already know the story of Gumi better now. So if you want to know where Gumi is getting his money from, just think about where was his father getting his own money from. Where? I won't say more. Thank you to every one of you who took your time to join me tonight. Watch this video again if you are just joining. It's quite interesting, revealing. But read the article more. I'm going to reshare the article now in the comments for those who would like to go on and read it, okay? Open it up right now and take a time to read. It's quite interesting and revealing. You would read and get until you understand it, and you will never go out there to condemn anybody who is saying we don't want to be killed anymore. We don't want our people to get slaughtered anymore. We want to be free away from all this whole machination and this bloodbath and this whole thing. We want to opt out. So you won't go out there and fight or condemn them. You will join them because it's the right thing to do. And that is why if you are a student here in Scotland, or even in the UK, you know, I don't know how much your travel card can take you, but if you're a student in this in Scotland, do please make it a date with us next week, Sunday, the 10th of October, where we're having our solidarity rally, you know, for the persecution of the indigenous people in Nigeria, endorsed by the Yoruba Global Directorate, which are also going to be present there too. You are all invited. Be part of it. Stop joining or spreading the lies that those who are asking for peaceful conversation on how to actually end this are the enemies. I've just gave you the picture. And stop asking, who are the sponsor of Boko Haram and terrorism in Nigeria? Start saying, when is Nigeria going to really prosecute the sponsor of Boko Haram? Maybe never. So we're not going to be part of that. We can opt out, can't we? See me some other time if you can. I'm going to see you again tomorrow. And before you go, please give me that thumb up under that video. Do it. Because you've been with me for for the past 2 hours, I would say. So if that would be the last thing you'll do before you go, please do it. Right? give that thumb up under that video, share the video. I mean, subscribe as well, so that when I come on next, you won't miss anything. And thank you so much for your time tonight. I'm going to see you some other time. Good night.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bọ́ba bá gbé wúrẹ́. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Tí gómìnà kówó jẹ. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá tí ń gba rìbá. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀. Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà ìtú wọn síta. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran. Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run sọ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ fòyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o, ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn